one word about Model United Nations. I believe that many of you have been engaged in Model United Nations. I thank you for that. I believe that that's the best way to keep your interest in global affairs and in the United Nations. I took part in a Model United Nations in Kyoto, Japan, when I was a university student. And that was very interesting. I represented Mali of Africa without knowing anything at all about that country. But it was such an experience for me. And at that time I had a dream that in one day I would go to the UN, to that august the General Assembly Hall, and I would make a big speech in front of the packed audience. And I would also make a big speech at the Security Council, talking about all the difficult problems. That dream, after that Model United Nations in 1968, I believe, that dream came true 30 years later. As a diplomat at the Japanese delegation, I had a speech on HIV/AIDS at the General Assembly Hall. It's a huge, beautiful hall, although the hall was empty. But never mind, I was so happy that I'm now realizing my long-term dream. I also had a chance of speaking at the Security Council. Now, I tell all the participants of Model United Nations that many students who have taken in Model United Nations of one kind or another have joined the United Nations, like our Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon. He also took part in a small Model United Nations in Korea. Like myself, and excuse me, ambassadors and staff. Many of them say that yes, I have taken part in the in Model United Nations in my country. They say because their interest in the United Nations have continued, and that motivated them to become the staff or the ambassadors working in diplomatic field or working in NGOs. And your interest in global affairs in the Model United Nations at your age will inspire you, will motivate you to get engaged with the United Nations. And the United Nations is is a place where decision is slow, but it's a fascinating place, particularly when you work on the ground. We have UNICEF people working for children and mothers, WFP helping millions of people to be fed, WHO people for vaccination. I worked for 4 years in WHO, World Health Organizations. My happiest time was when I gave the polio vaccine to a little girl in Myanmar. She was less than 1 year old. Other babies were crying when they got the vaccination through their mouth. But when I gave my vaccine to a little girl of Myanmar, less than 1 year old, when she had it, she smiled back to me. And I was so happy that never again she would suffer from polio. That sort of fulfillment of doing something good for children, for people in need, for refugees. The United Nations has been working on the ground, and that's very fulfilling. So I hope that your interest in the United Nations will keep you engaged, and someday you'll become the UN staff or ambassadors or leaders of NGOs to work to make a difference for the world. Thank you for this opportunity.